Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of College Football Uncensored, brought to you by Saturday Down South and Texas Pete. I'm your host, Tyler Huck, and with me, as always, my co-host, Chris Marler. Chris, I didn't wait for the chat to build up because of the video.
Oh, we're just live
on Instagram. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because of the video I sent you?
Yeah. Now I'm
that was
self-conscious
funny.
about it. So we'll start with an audience of 2. That's fine.
That's fine. That's all we need. Whoa, jumped. Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah, so first and foremost, it's been a minute. We didn't record another podcast before Christmas. And this is the first one we're doing after Christmas. So how was your Christmas? You said you got the stomach bugs. That's cool.
Got a stomach bug, was vomiting violently all Christmas night, but that's okay.
That's cool.
Other than that, it was great, man. Always fun to live Christmas through your kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes on a new meaning.
What'd you get your kids? Anything fun?
What
up, Herman Brown? What up, Ray Miller?
We got them a slide for their playground in the back.
That's cool.
Amongst other smaller gifts. An easel. Got my son a basketball hoop, his first basketball hoop.
Who got the easel? Why'd you get? Are they good artists?
They kids like to do art, dude. You'll learn one day.
You don't know if we neither of us know if I have a kid or not right now. So
that's true. But one day you'll meet that kid if you have one. And
God.
You'll figure out that he likes easels, unless he's an adult, and that would be weird.
Yeah, that would be super weird.
Unless, of course, he was an art teacher.
Yeah, that would also weird. That's fair. Well, we started the show off in a good way.
Okay.
So I've decided to do this from the living room because I want to watch.
Because we are living.
We are LIVI. Dude, this is the best fucking day of TV, like possibly ever.
UNC
I tweeted this
Oregon.
out earlier. Oh, shoot. I forgot about that. So
7-7.
I took the first half over at 38. Also, Bo Nix is legit. He's been fun to watch. But all day there's been an Office marathon. There's been a Yellowstone marathon starting from season 1, which is the second Yellowstone marathon I've watched this break. Then there's 4 bowl games on. So you have the tail end of the Arkansas game right now, the start of the Oregon game. It's been a really good day. And then I think there's SEC basketball coming on. I'm watching this now because I'm really hoping Arkansas doesn't find a way to fucking blow this. But
this Ohio State fan claims that there's rumors out there that Ohio State practices at Mercedes-Benz were being filmed by Georgia and Kirby Smart. And if that's true, then Kirby Smart and the Georgia Bulldogs are completely pieces of shit.
We lost 15 viewers in the minute you posted that. Nevin, no, we could have told you this, dude. This is what Georgia does. This is what Georgia's never won a natty that has been fair. If it's not injured receivers, it's cheating by Kirby Smart is Bill Belichick, but not with any of the good characteristics. Like he's not it's not like a positive thing. He's
somehow worse haircut.
Yeah. Kirby Smart is like Bill Belichick's son, just as uncomfortable and creepy, and does even more awful mouth gestures. I'll never forget, dude. We last year when we went down to Baton Rouge, and I was staying with Mickey Jeremy. Shout out Mickey and his wife in their Christmas. But we were watching Sunday Night Football, and we're all still trying to recover from the day before because it's Baton Rouge. And we look up, and Bill Belichick's son is hands on his knees going.
Yeah.
It was all so that. That's what is happening? Yeah. Also, Georgia fans, we're just kidding. You guys aren't. You look like a turtle. You guys aren't pieces of poop. I was just kidding about that.
So what have you learned thus far watching bowls, gambling on bowls through, I guess, the midway point of bowl season?
So I haven't really gambled on much. I just threw in a pretty fierce parlay for tonight.
Did you? Explain.
Auburn was losing at the half. I got them to beat Florida in basketball, Bama to beat Mississippi State in basketball, Arkansas to hang on and win. I was minus 900, so it didn't really count. Oregon, UNC, first half over, and then Ole Miss money line. And it's I think plus 600 odds or something like that. What I've learned the most, so I always love this. Like, there's so much, it's so boring. Like, there's that one good week or one good day of games before Christmas that is like, it was like December 17th this year, right? It's like a Saturday. And after that, there's not really much to watch. So like the SEC starting out 0-2 for the second year in a row, I just love even our social media from like our Big Ten site was like, I don't know, Jaden. I think it's because it's Christmas break. But no, like I always love when people start dancing on the grave of the SEC over like bowl games. And like how do you feel about bowl games? Like
I
do you
mean,
pull for ACC teams?
I guess because it's not like a bowl game. Like, see, I have a hard problem. Like, if it was Clemson versus, I don't know, Oklahoma or something in the title game, I'd root for Oklahoma. Like, I don't want because a championship game or a championship win means a lot for that program in recruiting. Someone that you recruit against, they're your main rival in your conference. But if it's a meaningless holiday bowl, like Oregon, North Carolina that I'm watching, which is an awesome game, but it doesn't mean anything when it comes to recruiting, I might root for UNC. I mean, I picked Oregon with one of my highest confidence picks in the game. So I guess in that regard, I'm rooting for Oregon, but I'm much more likely to root for my own conference in games like these, which makes it a little bit more fun. But I don't know. What about you? Do you root for the SEC in bowl games? I
remember having this conversation with you on our old podcast, the Winning and Boozing podcast. And I remember saying, like, I just thought it was so stupid. Get rid of it, Bo. I thought it was so stupid to pull for the SEC. And like, you know, as like somebody who grew up a Bama fan, like I wanted every SEC team to lose no matter what, because it doesn't do anything for my school in terms of like recruiting. It doesn't do anything like any kind of positive for the other teams doesn't benefit my team. And I don't really give a shit about the money part of it. Like how much you're bringing in from like bowls, because the SEC is a machine. So you're going to bring in ridiculous 100%. Money anyway from the television contract. So it doesn't really matter. So, but now like working in this this job for so long, I have gotten, I think I've like admittedly, and I don't think it's a secret from anybody that follows me, I've admittedly like started drinking the Kool-Aid more and more with like SEC stuff. Cause it is like cool to like, you know, kind of beat your chest with some of the stuff, but like still low key. Like I hope Clemson beats the shit out of Tennessee. Sorry, Tennessee fans. I love most of you. I hope, well, Auburn didn't make a bowl. So that's just, they didn't even get to ride their bikes to the Birmingham Bowl this year. I would pull against A&M. There's like, I mean, there's part of me that's like, I hate to say it, and we'll get into the picks later, but like, I'll be there Saturday night. If Ohio State beats Georgia, there's going to be a very real part of me that's going to be like, good. I mean,
I think there's like an 80% part of you that would be extremely happy about that.
There's nothing in the world that will make me flip-flop more like a politician than Georgia football right now. There's
you hate Ohio State too.
I fucking hate Ohio State. I hate Ohio State, but I also like, as somebody that converses with Georgia fans constantly at my own detriment and it's my own fault, like on social media. Yeah. Like it would be like, I don't know, maybe it'd be high key hilarious if they got beaten that, because, you know, and I don't think that'll happen, but I don't know. We got also, I mean, like we might have to do a little pre-pump up video like we did for the Tennessee game before that game as well. There's a lot of games to go over, but by the way.
Yeah. So something I've learned about just kind of the bowl season thus far, especially this year, is it's really important to look at not only motivation for each team, but opt-outs and all that shit is like at a all-time level at this point.
Right.
And you'll have teams, like we'll talk about it, but Florida State basically had nobody opt out, even the guys that are probably going pro.
Really?
And versus Oklahoma, who like basically all their good players except for the QB have opted out. So it's like, I mean, you know, Oklahoma probably wins the game now at this point, but you have to really look at
why?
Just because it's like so
also,
obvious.
This is really big because the first quarter over was 16.5. So hold on. You motherfucker.
You missed it. That's tough. That's a tough one. This is what we do in gambling. I'm on YouTube TV, so he's just kicking it. And yes, he did miss. I can confirm. But
Also,
yeah,
we can't do a pump up video tonight because of the shirt I'm wearing. We can't do a Georgia pump up video tonight.
No. So we'll go through these bowls, and I can go through the opt outs. I can also go through the bowl swag from last year. Still haven't found a 2022 version of this. Maybe they don't do bowl swag anymore. I don't really know.
They have to do bowl swag. Also, side note, I saw this today on PMT. They're talking about Jared Goff's gifts to his offensive linemen and his teammates. He does his own gift suite.
He does?
Yeah.
Like how?
Like he will have a bunch of things to pick from, and he lets the offensive linemen go ahead and pick. They like draw. I think they draw like from like a raffle, and like they get to pick like in order. And then they were asking, they were like, what are your gifts that you got from like Goff? Is it like is it good? Is it like like how's he like it's like a Christmas gift giver? And they were like, one of them was like, well, I'm like a whiskey guy, so he gave me like Pappy Van Winkle like 23 year because he couldn't find it. So then Jared Goff found it like immediately and gave it to him. And then like this year they said on the gift suite thing, like ATVs were like he was like, that's just like such a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, that's just
I can't fathom.
It's ridiculous to me that a guy like Jared Goff, who's like, he's not bad, but he's definitely not great.
He's been good this year. What are you doing, sir?
Like just that kind of money for a guy like that. I mean, just imagine the guys like Russell Wilson, who is just the worst QB in the league now.
Awful.
And in year one of just a monster contract.
Dude, 200, was it 247 or 257? It doesn't matter either way. I mean, yeah. And like,
nobody on the team likes him. The team is just in disarray.
So I remember like Allie was a big Seahawks fan, and we would watch the games. I think she had like a Seahawks, like a Russell Wilson jersey. And it was like, it wasn't like it was after the Super Bowl, obviously, but his whole thing, hold on. What are you doing, Drake May? His whole thing, the let Russ cook and all that kind of shit. It was like somewhat fun to watch. And then, and he seemed like he was like the glue that kept that thing together.
He was good. And like, he was considered a real leader in the past. I don't know what happened to him.
I think like, honestly, there's not a better example of somebody that should be off social media, including myself, than like, if you ranked it right now, Trump, Zach, what's his name? Who was the coach from Zach Smith, the Ohio State coach, when he had his meltdown publicly, and then maybe Russell Wilson, maybe the top three worst like people to be on social media for their own benefit. And I'm not saying this is not a political statement. I'm not saying anything about like, Trump and Twitter. I'm just saying like for their own benefit and gain, maybe we take a break because his videos are.
I mean, it feels like you're leaving out one massive Kanye West.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's also true. Yeah. He had a tough.
He's had a few tough runs on Twitter.
There's like so many things. Like if you had like, what should I say next? And it's like, I don't know, man, up to you, but just don't say this. And he'd be like, I'm going to say that. I'm going to say the shit 100%.
Out of that. That's exactly how it goes.
Anyway, but yeah.
All right, let's jump into these games, man.
Yeah, let's do it. Are we only doing SEC? What are we doing? What's the plan here?
I don't know. Let's just jump around. Let's just go in ABC order here. Or not ABC, Jesus.
Wait, what we need to do first? Sorry, hold on. We need to recap the stuff that's already happened. Anything that's happened so far, non-gambling standpoint, just I want to point out the weirdest thing that I've watched so far. Last night's Wisconsin-Oklahoma State game.
Why was Luke Fickell coaching the game? I've never seen that.
It was so I don't think so. They said beforehand, Luke Fickell coming in, he's giving Jim Leonhard one last hurrah. And if you're Luke Fickell, just retain Jim Leonhard for sure. I don't know why you wouldn't.
I thought that he was, and then Luke Fickell, or then what's his name? Leonhard was like, nah, this is gonna be my last game coaching here. Like I thought it was his decision. I thought Fickell tried to keep him.
Maybe he did, and maybe I missed the whole thing. What up, Jeff Williams? Good to see you too. But I don't know. Like the whole thing was. It was super bizarre because I was like, I've never seen that happen where you have like a guy like that on the sidelines. It makes no sense to me at all. I don't. And then Gundy afterwards, Mike Gundy, friend of the podcast. Oh, yeah. And I almost tweeted this out like, man, Gundy looks like such a bitch, but I didn't want to say that because of course, like I said, in front of the podcast, we've done interviews with Mike Gundy before, very
Yeah, of
short
course.
interviews on the red carpet.
Yeah.
But like, what did you see what he said to this reporter last night?
Yeah, here's the thing about it is I actually understand the point he was making. It's just you went about it all wrong, brother. Went about it all
wrong. Yeah. And then he kept then he like bullied him into it. Was like, this might be your last
Yeah.
ride.
Yeah,
like
so for those
that
didn't see it, essentially Oklahoma State lost to a guy who's like never even been around the team.
Right.
And so clearly he was mad after the game, and one of the reporters asked, are there going to be any staff changes? Which I can understand her side of the thing as well, which is like, that's just my job to ask because that's that time of year. But he was pissed because he's like, look, even if I was, why would I tell you? Like, obviously these guys are like close to me.
Don't be an ass.
They have families. Like, I'm not going to just be like, our OC's out of here, like without ever talking to him or anything like that. But so, he was being kind of a sarcastic asshole about it. And then he just took it to the next level. And he was like,
he kept going.
Don't be an ass. Like, you're lucky I don't cut you out of here for good.
That's what he said. Yeah. And I think what I didn't like about it was, from my standpoint, and I don't know what Mike Gundy is thinking or saying or doing or anything like that. We're not there, but they did get dominated in this game, the whole game. And so I think he was like definitely pissed, right? But then, like, it seemed like there's like, if you're in that situation, it's like, what the fuck am I gonna say? Like, we got beat, this blows. It seemed like he like said that and it made him feel better. So he latched onto that because he didn't want to have to answer any more fucking questions or anything, and then just like kept going with it.
And I mean, it's not like we've ever seen him go on a rant before in a press conference. So it's like, this is a first time thing.
Also, Gundy, Mike, if you're watching, which I know you are, like, I hope you're having a great and happy, safe New Year. But you can't tell someone to not be an ass when you have shaved a mullet into your fucking scalp for the last 4.5 years. You're a grown ass man. You're 60. Like, you can't do that. So
yeah, how long ago was that 40 rant? That was like 15 years ago, easily.
7, yeah, it was 15 years ago. So he's 55 now.
Good God. That means I'm getting old too. Well, let's see. Let's just jump around to I thought Air Force like beating the shit out of Baylor was kind of impressive.
I knew that. Oh, by the way. Oh yeah, we haven't talked about recruiting. We didn't talk about any of that.
No.
So I will say the saddest thing I've seen all bowl season, and it's not any of these fucking St. Jude's commercials. Okay, it is the fact that on whatever day it was a pre-Christmas game, right? Or was it after Christmas? It doesn't matter.
What?
Either way, Baylor has to play Air Force, who is just cut blocking and triple optioning their way up and down the field, refusing to give the ball to Baylor. Like, at one point in the first quarter, they had the ball for like 8 minutes and 48 seconds. Baylor had it for like, I don't know, 34 seconds. It was ridiculous. So they're playing this triple option attack. They refuse to give the ball back. They're getting like their brains beat in. And not only is that happening, they're playing it in their rival stadium at TCU. And then it's 13 degrees outside. Ugh. Like, that is the fucking worst.
Yeah, wasn't that the coldest bowl on record?
Probably.
Yeah, I think that was
13 degrees.
Ugh, there was like 15 people in the stands. Mm-hmm. What was higher, the amount of people in the stands or the degrees?
1,000% people in the stands by at least 2. Anything from signing day or the shit with Dion?
Obviously the Cormani McClain thing is interesting, if only because it'd be 2 times in a row. I mean, if you don't count Arch Manning, who's obviously the number 1 player,
right?
The number 1 player that's not a quarterback, Cormani McClain, corner out of what was it, Lakeland, Florida, I believe.
Yeah,
committed to Miami. Surprise commitment over Florida. Everyone thought he was going to Florida. Decides on signing day, like they had a cake for him waiting to come sign at his high school, and he just didn't show. Florida is just and the state of like the recruits coming from Florida is just undefeated in like the best recruiting stories on day of National
And
Signing
drama, yeah. Alex
There's so many
Collins'
good
mom
ones.
stealing his letter of intent and driving off with it.
Day.
That'll
Yeah.
never not be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like there's
Just can't find the kid. And then his mom
right.
tweets, sorry, he's not signing today.
False alarm.
And, there's rumors that Dion's involved there. You had, Florida State's best recruit, best probably receiver we've signed in a decade. He said that Dion was calling him, like wouldn't stop calling him, like going to sign. He's like, no, you can't sign there. You got to come sign with me. Coach Prime. Luckily, our guy was loyal. But, dude, recruiting is insane.
Yeah, and Bama closed with it was kind of funny because I did this whole deep dive on why George. I did it on the pod. I talked about it on the podcast. And it was actually really cool because I joke around, sometimes I don't know if anybody cares about any of those deep dives. And then I ended up getting to go on SEC this morning on Sirius and also Feinbaum to talk about the deep dive. So that was pretty cool. But it was wild, watching. The Kermani McLean thing, him going, being from Lakeland. Lakeland used to be a pipeline to Florida. There was a time when Lakeland had I remember, I think they had 7 D1 prospects in one class. This is probably over a decade ago, and all of them went to Florida. All of them.
Yeah.
And that might have been when Tebow was there.
That was the urban days, yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that's just gone now is kind of crazy. But the other, and McLean is he's a top 10 rated cornerback in the history of recruiting. He's a very highly rated player.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was kind of interesting. The other part that I thought was interesting, Bama closes with the number 1 class, and it's kind of funny just because you have a year ago Saban talking about how, what up, Willie Gray? What Saban's talking a year ago about how Jimbo bought this whole class, and it's very obvious that that's what Bama did this year. You get 7 5-stars. Eli Ricks is little brother. He commits the day at. You get 6 the day of. You flip a kid from Iowa, who's a 5-star tackle.
Yeah, that was big.
Huge. Yeah. He's 6'8". By the way, though, and we're at this time period now. That kid's name. Did you see his name?
Caden,
Kadyn. I wanted to die.
Yep.
D-Y-E.
It's pretty similar to the way I spell my daughter's name, which is Cameron. So
yeah,
hate you.
I did a joke about that on stage at one time. Anyway,
but yeah, so Bama ends up. Well, it's not over yet. There's obviously a second signing day. I will say, Florida State killing it in the portal. Number 1 portal team right now. Getting a lot of big time pickups.
Where else is everyone in the portal? What is?
I think Michigan's number 2.
Right, Michigan was number 1. They're not number 1.
Florida State just passed them. We picked up the number 1 D lineman in the portal.
Who?
The Braden Fisk kid from Western Michigan.
Oh, okay.
He had 44 QB pressures last year. No big deal.
Wow. Devin. Oh yeah, Devin Leary went to Kentucky. By the way, that was pretty big.
Yeah. I saw. You see tonight that Keyshawn Butte now not coming back to LSU.
Saw that. I think that's probably. Did they just fucking miss a field goal too? Are we just not trying to cover an over?
Oh, that's tough. This was a big over game.
This was a big over game.
Looks like shit.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I thought there was a lot of interesting stuff that happened there. The portal in general. Grayson McCall playing in his bowl game despite being in the portal. I thought that was kind of cool. Hartman.
Yeah.
He's going from Wake to most likely going to Notre Dame. There's rumors, and Mac Brown kind of talked about it, that Drake May and I think Hartman probably the same thing. We're getting phone calls, and there's rumors that Drake May was offered $5 million from some of the big schools. I'm assuming it's Bama to go there. I don't know how true that is or not. I don't really give a shit if it's not. Throw more, give them 10. Right. They Bryce is gone. I don't think Jalen can step up next year. But anyway, it was a pretty it was uneventful because some of the games, but it was also I don't know. It was also there's a lot of stuff that happened. Also, Tua died on Sunday. That was tough.
Well, not really. If you're not really up on news, that's a false alarm. He's not dead.
False alarm. No, he's not. That but
his career might be over.
That's not that. I'm not joking when I say that. That is the fact that they're diagnosing this as a second concussion, and it's clearly his third.
Yeah,
because they just misdiagnosed the first one. He's had 3 in the same season.
Yeah, dude.
That is terrifying.
No joke. Yeah, we were talking about this today. I mean, you've already made enough money as a rookie to like live forever with the signing bonus. Just fucking retire, dude. Like you can't take hits like that often and like live past 40 years old. Like CTE out the ass. Like no joke. But all right, let's start talking about some of these bowls.
Let's do it.
I don't really care particularly about the Syracuse Minnesota game. Do you?
Nope, not at all. I got Minnesota big in that though.
Yes, I agree. Sean Tucker out, who's their best player, and they have like their best offensive lineman out as well. Florida State, Oklahoma, already covered that. I think the big mismatch. If anything, I love the over here because I think Oklahoma is missing their Eric Gray, who was awesome for them, the transfer from Tennessee. Also, 3 starting offensive linemen, including both their tackles. So I am a little worried about the offense, but Florida State's defense, while it looks good on paper, every time they played a legit offense, they've gotten lit up for points. Like, see the Florida game. So I could see this going over, but I like Florida State to win the game. It's gone from like all the way to like Florida State 9.5. I don't know if they're that much better than Oklahoma. So I don't know if I'd probably bet that, but I'd go over in that game. Excited, man.
I'm sending you this right now, by the way. Hold on. I'm sending you. So they did the first video from the Cheez-It hotel room.
Yeah, Micah Pittman.
That's so much.
It's a lot. That was an NIL deal too. They got paid. They were the first ever players to get paid an NIL deal by a bowl.
That's nuts.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, I like Florida State to win that game, dude. I'm very excited about Florida State's future for the first time in a long time.
Good.
We not only are we starting to get fixed on the field, I was very concerned about our ability to keep up in NIL, and we just so happen to have a dude who is I don't know how much I can get into it because he wants to be a nameless face, but from what I have heard. I haven't confirmed this yet, but I'm pretty confident. A dude my age just became a billionaire. He graduated Florida State the same year I did. And I'm pretty sure he became a billionaire recently by his family business selling. And he's like,
because they shut down.
What's that?
East Bay. Is it East Bay?
It's not East Bay. No, not East Bay. And so anyways, all of a sudden, and this guy's a big Florida State football fan, just wants to see the team succeed, doesn't want to be a face guy, doesn't want to be like Ruiz from Miami. But you're starting to see we're going head to head in the portal with like USC and a couple of these bigger NIL schools and winning those recruitments. I'm excited about the future for Florida State, and hopefully it parlays into an invitation to the SEC soon, and we'll be rivals in the same conference at some point.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, pretty big. Also, Florida has hired like a 12-year-old
person in the chat.
What the fuck is this, dude? This is, I mean, anyway, no, I think that's pretty cool that would, if that happens. The NIL stuff is like a little bit out of control. I love the fact they're having more conversations about putting some sort of like guidelines in place or like guardrails. But anyway, we can talk about that some other time. The Florida State thing in that game against Oklahoma. I know Jaden in the comments is a big Oklahoma fan. Like, I would take Florida State. I just think that, like, the way these two teams have performed consistently, and it's been a long time since we've said that about Florida State. Like, but the way these two teams have, like, played consistently down the stretch, I don't know what would make me think that what do you call it? That Florida State would lose to Oklahoma. I mean, I still have a hard time getting past Oklahoma's game against Texas.
I would be surprised if Florida State lost. I really would. I mean, there's not a ton of Oklahoma barely snuck in. They've had a ton of guys opt out. Apparently there's more guys that haven't opted out yet that plan to just not play and haven't really said anything. And Florida State really, I mean, they have a chance to be the 25th team in school history to win 10 games.
That'd be awesome.
And there's a lot of talk around the program about that being that team. They've had a lot of guys who, like Jared Verse, who's going to be a first-round pick at some point. There's rumors he's actually maybe going to come back. Like, the culture at Florida State is somehow like amazing now. Plus, these NIL, like this NIL dude, his focus has been on player retention at Florida State. these kids are getting paid to basically stay, not transfer, maybe not go to the NFL yet. I mean, there's a lot going on. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, that's
Clemson's
fair.
been doing it for years under the table through churches. What? All right. Texas, Washington. I'm kind of interested in that game. That seems like a good game.
I think that's the Alamo game. Alamo Bowl.
The Alamo Bowl.
Yeah, that's a great game.
It does worry me a little bit. Texas is a 6-point favorite, but dude, Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson are out. So everything's gonna be on Quinn Ewers. I mean, I like Washington's offense. I think I don't know. I think I'd take Washington to cover here. What about you?
Damn it! When did I pick UCF? So Washington, like, what scares me is
their defense sucks. I mean,
their defense is awful. But what scares me for Texas is we've seen them get torched at times. Like, the defense has been better, but we've seen Washington put up like numbers, I feel like, on everybody, right?
Right.
So I don't know what would tell me that they're not gonna do that. I think the over is a great play from a gambling standpoint. But I also love the fact that what Steve Sarkisian said, and he kind of, like, in my opinion, kind of came out and like fucking told the boosters like what's what, and like with in so many words, because they were talking about, like, is Texas going to overlook the Alamo Bowl, because Texas, you do have to have this fear of like them always feeling like they're too good for everything for whatever reason. They have a very misguided self, like, they're like a fucking Texas is basically like a 24-year-old that has no student loans. Like, they have an unbridled amount of fucking self-confidence for no reason at all.
Right.
And they just, it's like, it's some kid named Caden, probably with a C instead of a Y. I mean, instead of a K. But yeah, like, that's what Texas is. And so you have to wonder if they're going to be up for the Alamo Bowl and going to like San Antonio for something that's like maybe less than the program. But at the same time, Steve Sarkisian came out and he said, over the last decade, how many Texas teams have won 9 games? Like, you have an opportunity to differentiate yourself and like separate yourself from a lot of, of these like teams and kind of like the mediocrity that they've been swimming in for the last decade.
Yeah, no, it's a fair point. I mean, here's the thing though. Texas has a lot of really good players that have opted out of this game.
Yes.
Their 2 best running backs, obviously, Bijan Robinson is the leader in yards per scrimmage in the nation.
Yeah.
So anytime you lose that plus his backup, I mean, I think they've got a redshirt freshman and a true freshman that are in the mix to get carries. I know you've got Overshorn, their linebacker, who had 95 tackles. He's opted out. He's going to the draft. Obviously, there's problems at wide receiver where, of course, your boy Jai Hall. I don't know what's going on with him, dude. But I just think that Penix is playing, and Washington's offense is really, really good.
Penix is coming back.
Yeah, so he's announced he's coming back, and thus he's playing. And so, yeah, man, I don't think Texas really should be favored by this much. I'm going to take Washington to win, maybe even outright.
And I pulled up the our Capital One Bowl group. I don't know what you're ranked in this, if you even filled out a thing. I'm 11-10. So just speaking of swimming in mediocrity, I've won 3 in a row, which is good. I feel good about that. And I also was one of the people that picked ECU last night, which I was pretty pumped about. Nice. So I'm looking at some of these picks. This is like split 50-50 down the middle between from everybody in the group. Also, really good day of football tomorrow. And like today on is just like really, really good football. From like
Ole Miss is playing tonight, right? Texas Tech.
Yeah, they're about to start right now at 9.
That's a great game.
It should be. I'm a little bit worried about Texas Tech. Also, oh God. Oh no.
What?
Kansas just got an onside kick. They're down 38-30 with a minute and 5 seconds to go. They got the ball at the 50-yard line. So, anyway, yeah, I think I'm gonna take Texas just because I've been high on Texas all year, and I would really love for them to like prove me right for once this season, besides the Oklahoma game. But I'd say that with almost zero confidence. Kansas just got a 25-yard gain.
Pitt, UCLA. Don't think we care about that one. Notre Dame, South Carolina.
Yeah, I love that.
What do we got?
So, all right, I'm going to do this in 2 ways. I'm not sure if Herman Brown's even still watching. I know he's a big South Carolina guy, and he's been asking us to preview this game for like 3 weeks now. Oh my God. So Kansas is just going straight for the end zone now. So I like Notre Dame in this game. I think Notre Dame. I was about to say I think they close the season better than South Carolina, but that'd be a very ignorant statement because nobody in the country closed better, arguably, than South Carolina, beating two potential playoff teams and ruining their entire fucking seasons. That being said, I'm gonna pick Notre Dame for two reasons. One, because I think it's good luck for South Carolina and their fans. And I love South Carolina fans, and I love the fact that they get to be kind of like happy going into the offseason for once after beating Clemson, especially. Two, I just think that Notre Dame's going to beat them. What really worries me is the fact that South Carolina doesn't have a scholarship. Excuse me, they don't have a scholarship tight end. I don't think going on this trip, or maybe they have one. And Shane Beamer's even talking about that. That's kind of tough to run some of your sets. Like you're going to have to bring down another offensive lineman in short yard situations. Like you can't, like you don't have you have one guy, you have one tight end on the field, which is a big deal, especially for an offense that and I also hate the fact that Marshawn Lloyd opted out and hit the transfer portal. Arguably their best player on offense, the tight end, he's going to Florida State.
Yep.
So that kind of sucks. But also, I feel like this is a team that everyone, including me, has doubted repeatedly, and it's never worked out for the doubters. So I say that knowing full well that this could easily be a situation where Beamer just shocks the world again and beats. I mean, what an awesome end to the season if you're Beamer beating two top 10 teams and then Notre fucking Dame.
Well, here's the thing too about this is look at the Notre Dame. South Carolina has one of the most depleted rosters in the bowl season, but look at Notre Dame's. So they're all-world tight end has opted out. He's going pro. Right. Same with their extremely good defensive edge, Foskey. And look at their QB situation. So Tyler Buchner started the year. He's out with injury. Drew Pine came in for him, did an okay job. He's hit the transfer portal. And then, I'm pretty sure that Buchner's not going to be healthy enough to play in the game. So this dude, Steve Angley, I've never heard of him.
He's a guitarist, I believe, for the Eagles.
Right. So I just don't really know who's going to be playing QB for Notre Dame. So if that's the case, look, I mean, Notre Dame's been running the ball all year. They've got a really good rush offense. Pass offense has been okay too, but I don't know who to trust with QB. I wouldn't be surprised to see South Carolina win this game at all. I don't think I would bet this game, but I would take South Carolina. I'll be interested to see. That could be a good upset.
Yeah, I agree. This fucking over in this.
All right. Well, you know what? For the fun of it, I'm gonna pick South Carolina to get that upset too.
Okay, I like that.
Rattlers played good down the stretch.
Played well. You sound like an idiot.
Sorry, man. I sound like a damn. Okay, that takes us into the Friday night game.
Okay.
Tennessee, Clemson, and the Orange Bowl.
Who are you? So you're pulling for Tennessee.
Pulling is a strong word. But
it's just there's the good people. I made a joke about this.
So much orange.
And there was I made a joke about this on Facebook when I announced that I'm moving to Florida at the end of January, and I said something about how it's been a tough year, or it's been great talking to most of these people except for Tennessee fans. And there's we have a decent listenership that are Tennessee fans that I genuinely love. Ash Williams is Ash Williams.
Oh no, we've lost Chris. Chris, I'm not sure what happened to you. Oh boy, what is going on, sir? Wow. Incredible. Simply incredible, folks. Well, while we're waiting on him, I'm going to give my breakdown of the Tennessee-Clemson game. I'll be very interested to see this game, actually, because for Tennessee, you've got Hendon Hooker, obviously, out with the big injury. You got your two best receivers in Cedric Tillman and Jalen Hyatt, who are also out. And then on Clemson's side, obviously DJ moves on. I think the offense has clearly looked better with, and I don't know, maybe now that Tennessee will actually have time to look at Klubnik play a full game, maybe they'll get some good tape on him. Maybe it'll be tough for Clemson to move the ball here. But I don't know that Tennessee's offense is going to be as explosive with those three guys out. But then you look at who Clemson's missing. You've got Miles Murphy, Xavier Thomas, Trenton Simpson. All those guys are incredible players for Clemson.
Bro,
obviously Tennessee's OC is left, so I don't know that. I mean, Hype will probably just call plays. This is gonna be an interesting game, though, and I think I'm gonna take Clemson to win the game because I just don't like Joe Milton very much at QB. I think Clemson's probably still got enough talented depth on defense to make up for it, and so I'll take Clemson to win the game. But I would not be shocked to see Tennessee win either.
So I turned off the Arkansas game and turned on the end of the Auburn basketball game for my parlay that I had. Kansas scored and tied it up. They scored and hit the 2-point conversion.
No.
Yeah, it's 38-38. Arkansas has the football.
Jesus, I thought that was a layup in my bowl pick 'em. Jesus.
Yeah, no, Jayden, that's a very good ball. Like, yeah, like I thought, Jesus. I mean, they were.
I'm not watching the Kansas game. I don't have my remote, and this game's on the UNC game.
It's also what's going on there? They scored. Did they score? UNC scored.
It's on commercial right now. I don't know.
I overreacted either way. Anyway, hold on. Yeah. So anyway, I think
Clemson. Let's go.
I think you really hit the nail on the head when you talk about like this game going into like the fact that like you're gonna have maybe a little bit more tape on Klubnik. I don't think it's really gonna matter. I just don't think Joe Milton, the way this offense is run, right? It takes, and you look at the past, Dylan Gabriel, Mackenzie Milton, like Drew Lock even, and some of those guys, like Drew Lock he wasn't like the craziest, most accurate downfield passer, but he did have over 40-something touchdowns while he set the single season record while he was at Mizzou when Heupel was his OC. The people, like, this is a downfield offense. They are throwing the ball vertically, and you have to be accurate. And there might not be a more accurate deep ball passer in the country over the last 2 years than Hendon Hooker. Thank fucking God. And Joe Milton is a lot of things. He's athletic. He can throw the shit out of the ball. He's probably got the strongest arm in the country. Accurate is not one of the things he is. I think that in games like this too, I think like Dabo always finds a way to make shit like this matter. And then like, it almost like in the same way, and I compared it to Jimbo like a couple weeks ago. Like he finds a way to like end the season. I feel like on a high. Like I know they lost the national championship a couple years back, but I mean, like it seems like he finds a way to go to next season like where like everyone's believing again. And I think with Klubnik, especially being a part of that offense, that's like a little bit like you can build that offense around Klubnik. I don't think you can build Tennessee's offense around Joe Milton. I just don't.
No, I agree. And they've quickly found that out last year.
Yeah.
All right. That brings us to the big Sugar Bowl between the Alabama Crimson Tide and Kansas State. Kansas State plus 6.5. How you feeling, big boy?
First off, don't ever call me big boy again, you weirdo.
All right, how you feeling, little boy?
How you feeling, little boy? LBB. I feel better. I love the fact that Bryce and Will Anderson are going to play. I didn't think about this until the other day. Somebody brought up like, well, how much do you think they'll play? And I don't know the answer to that question. I love the fact that they're trying to go out like on a high with like their teammates and all that kind of stuff. I did jokingly tweet this out today because Bryce Young said he wanted to go out like at media days or whatever there. He said like he wanted to go out with a win. And I was like, and this is Bill O'Brien was the one answering this question. He's like, Bryce said he wants to go out with a win. And I was like, and then Bill O'Brien followed that up by saying like over my dead body or something like, cause like he's still the OC. I'm a little bit disappointed that we don't get to see more of Jalen Milroe too.
Yeah.
But I told you guys this stat a couple weeks ago. There's like the Big 12 is like 10-2 in their last 2 years in bowl games, I think, against the spread. I guess 10-3 now, at least with Baylor. I don't know if anyone else from that conference has played this bowl season, but I like Bama's chances. I do. Like I think that it's a very weird.
Chances, they're favored.
Okay, cool. They're favored in every game, no matter what Saban says. I feel good about them winning. It's just such a weird feel to the Sugar Bowl being an 11 a.m. kick. I don't know. It's just odd. It's like
It is a weird.
It's
weird to have a Sugar Bowl kickoff at 11 a.m.
Yeah. So there was
Arkansas
getting an untimed down to close out the regulation here.
What's going on?
Arkansas is getting an untimed down.
What are they down by?
Regulation. It's tied 38-30. Oh, it's second. There's 2 seconds left on the clock now.
Oh, what yard are they on?
I don't fucking know. Give me a second, Tyler.
Okay.
All
right,
Willie Gray brings to the point. You see that video of Saban?
Yeah.
Warming up his old ass legs?
Yeah.
Getting them varicose veins out?
He popped up pretty quick off that too. Like faster than I would.
I'm not joking that I'm not that flexible. I couldn't do that.
I thought that this game was going to be a Kansas State dub until Will Anderson and Bryce Young opted in. I think just that news alone will get the guys on that roster fired up, and we'll give a shit about the game. And if you have a Bama team that's fired up and will give a shit about the game against Kansas State, I'll take Bama all day.
Yeah,
so
okay, I can see that.
It's going to be 75, 80% Bama fans.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lit environment, except for the fact that it's an 11 a.m.
environment. All right, hold on. So they're at the 47-yard line. There's 2 seconds left. What? If you're – oh, my God. Never mind. I overreacted.
Oh, my God, dude. What is wrong with you?
They ran the football, and then he broke a tackle, and it looked like – I didn't realize they had a bunch of people back there. I overreacted. I'm sorry, guys. That was tough. That was tough for me. My bad.
Wow. God. We need to get a GIF of your reaction of the video.
Was it too loud? Was it too loud? It seemed like it was too loud.
It was too loud. Yeah, so give me Bam in the game to cover. Good God. Do we have to preview Iowa, Kentucky? We can't.
No. Absolutely. No offense, Kentucky fans. Love you to death. But no, we're not doing this. This is the coal. Like, this is the metaphorical coal on Christmas that none of us fucking wanted, or the socks on Christmas that none of us wanted. That is an awful game. It is. I said
total
this
of 31.
Last week. Total of 31. Iowa played in a game earlier this year where they had a total of 31.5, which means they have now recorded, like, in the history of college football, because they didn't make lines, I'm assuming, gambling lines back in the day when, like, Rutgers and Lehigh were playing to like an 8-5 final or whatever. Like
the line is 0.5 on every game.
It is
to pick them. Every
game lowest. It is the 2 lowest totals, like over/under totals, in any game in the history of college football, and Iowa's been a part of both of them this very season.
Well, it's a damn shame for the Hawkeye fans that Kirk Ferentz's son is the OC, because Florida State went through the same thing with Jeff Bowden back when I was in school there.
Yeah.
We fired him and hired Jimbo Fisher, and now we hate him too.
Right now, but we might cover a total here.
All right, TCU, Michigan. Obviously, we're gonna wait for the playoff games to
the end.
To the end.
Okay.
Mississippi State, Illinois. Obviously, kind of a tough situation for Mississippi State. I guess, I don't know. I mean, there's always the chance that they rally around this. They rally around the new coach who's been on the staff. They know he's going to be their coach next year. But man, I don't know. That's tough. I mean, to have your head coach, I've never seen this, an active coach.
Yeah. To pass away like that. And then the way he did it in such horrific fashion. I will say it obviously, when you look at it, it's in the grand scheme of things, it's not very There's not been that much time since he's passed, obviously. Also, side note, SEC Network, just a phenomenal job covering his funeral and like the speakers there and all, and like just making like all of that matter. I thought that was really great. Anyway, like I was saying, so you're not that far removed from it, but you also kind of are. Like you've had time to process it a little bit. I think this is potentially an even uglier game than Iowa and Kentucky, and a more low scoring game than that game, just because Illinois got a great defense. They've had a great defense all season. They've got a really
DC
good running
left,
back.
by the way, for Purdue as the head coach.
Right. And then Zach Arnett takes over from Mississippi State. He's been their DC for the last several years, and he's been fantastic. Probably one of the more underrated offensive or defensive coordinators in the country. So I like that. But yeah, like I would stay away from this game from a betting standpoint. I'm going to say Mississippi State wins just because I think you come out and like it would be just a fucking shame if like they come out and lose in this just horribly like tragic end to the season. I would hate to see them lose after the passing of Mike Leach.
Yeah, I think you'll see a Mississippi State fan base really travel for that game, get behind those kids, and I think maybe get a little bit of a home field advantage, and Mississippi State takes the game over Illinois, who is a little bit of a disarray themselves with coaching, although it's a completely different circumstance.
Right.
The second game in the Citrus Bowl, this one, the actual Citrus Bowl, number 17 LSU against Purdue. Obviously, Purdue has a lot of turnover as they lost their head coach to Louisville. They actually, as I said before, the Illinois DC is now the head coach of them. I don't know if he's going to be coaching on the sideline like Fickle was, but I doubt it because that's just such a weird move.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously LSU is going to win this game. I think Purdue's got like way too much going on. They got a lot of guys transferring out after this, and LSU is kind of peaking almost in their excitement. Obviously, maybe not getting killed in the SEC championship game was probably the peak, but I don't know. What do you
listen? They are peaking right now. Peter Burns, we had this conversation the other day where he was talking about how going into next season, he thinks it's the first time in forever he looks at the roster and thinks that LSU has a deeper roster or a better roster than Alabama.
Really?
And yeah, I think the confidence from LSU fans is, and listen, I love Baton Rouge and I love Mickey Cheramy and I love all those guys. I think it's kind of funny. And I love going into the offseason with like LSU fans being on like another level because you had the fourth best recruiting class, which is the third best in the conference. Like you had the fourth best recruiting class, you beat Bama by 1 point, and you went to the SEC championship only to get your fucking brains beat in. And like they're like that's a program that will sit there and tell you that they do not have moral victories. But there's nothing more of a moral victory than saying, like, we put up 30 on Georgia. We put up over 500 yards passing on Georgia. You lost by fucking 20. That game was never going to be close. Love it. I love every bit of it.
Hey, listen, I'm on your side, man. Florida State opening game next year. It's going to be awesome.
Touchdown Kansas, by the way.
Wow.
On fourth and goal from the 3.
Wow. To win or now Arkansas?
No. Now Arkansas gets to like fumble or do something just horrific to close out this game.
LSU fans were cocky coming into this year against Florida State, and look what happened.
Yeah. Also, Kansas's kicker is 6'6".
Cotton Bowl, Tulane, and USC. USC,
really
a 2-point favorite. Obviously, this one's going to strictly come down to USC and what their injury / opt-out situation looks like. As of right now, I believe Caleb Williams has said he's playing. Is that accurate?
I have not heard that. If they are, hammer the 2-point line.
There were rumors early on that he would sit. Williams has been emphatic with the media that he will play in the game if he's physically able to. I heard the same thing, that Williams will play if he's healthy. I don't know. I'm not going to rely on that. You got Jordan Addison that's out. He's not playing in the game. He's declared for the draft. You've got 2 starting O-linemen that are out. So that's obviously why Tulane, it's such a – pretty much everybody's playing for them. So if Caleb Williams doesn't play, I like Tulane to win outright. This is one of those classic games. G5 team over a big name. It looks like a big win on paper, and it is rightfully for a G5 team, but it comes with the caveat that like USC doesn't have any of their best players.
How is like outside of the playoff? Like how is Lincoln Riley done in bowl games?
That's a good question. We
Fucking
only remember
UNC.
like them never winning in the playoff.
UNC just had a freak pickup, like interception off of the back of somebody's foot, returned it to the 50, and then scored on a. He just went down
that
the seam.
For the over.
No, there's like 30 seconds left in the half.
Did you bet Oregon?
No, I bet the over in the first half.
Why would you not like that then to get points?
I mean, I do, but I'm just complaining, I think, just to be a bitch. I don't know. Arkansas first and goal. Anyway, no, I don't really give a shit about this game, so I'm not going to weigh in on it. I hate like this game has become shitty to me, in my opinion, the Cotton Bowl, just because when it's not a playoff game, it is Arkansas scored. Don't go for 2. Please, God, don't go for 2. It is when they are.
They're going to go for 2, aren't they?
They're going to go for 2, I bet, because it's Pittman and
he's just savvy.
There's no reason to go for 2. No, I think he's putting the field goal unit on the field. There's no reason to go for 2.
Savvy old ball coach.
Just pulling up his britches. Anyway, savvy old ball coach. No, they're kicking the field goal. Do you think he misses it? This is incredible theater right now.
Yeah, I'm sure it's great. Oh, wow.
What? He made it.
Yeah, I know, but the snap was bad.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
All right, let's quickly get this till we get to the playoff games here. Penn State, Utah. What do you think?
Should be a great game. I think that Utah probably wins. I'm not impressed with Penn State, and I'm not going to get into it because it's only going to make me mad. But I think the Big Ten is such a fucking fraudulent conference in general, and like Penn State has 10 wins, right? If you put anything on the side of that helmet, I was going to say you replace that logo, but there isn't a logo on the helmet. If you put anything on the side of that helmet besides just a blue line down the middle of it, no one gives a shit about this team. They don't have a ranked win all year. They got beat by double digits at home against Ohio State when they had a lead in the fourth quarter. They got beat by over 3 touchdowns in their game at Michigan. They haven't been tested at all. Like I was in a conversation about this the other day where somebody brought up because of the SEC thing with me. They're like, well, I mean, they beat Arkansas or they beat Auburn. It's like, everyone beat Auburn. Like they played 2 ranked teams all year and they got beat by double digits in both. I think it's fucking bullshit that Penn State is being regarded as a top 10 team in general. I think they're 11th or something like that, but a lot of people have them. It pisses me off. I don't think they're very good. I think Utah's better. That being said, Penn State will probably somehow win. But are you? This is illegal. Don't do this. We're gonna kick. Stop. We're gonna get in huge trouble. Anyway, so I like Utah to win. I think like in Kyle Whittingham, he's 0-3 in his last 3 bowl games. I think, but he was like 11-1 or something like that in his previous 12. So. They're actually throwing. Come on, Oregon. Okay.
Let's finish the pod here.
That's all I got.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna take Utah to win this game. I like Utah. They've come up big all year, except for that first game against Florida. Beat USC twice, including beating their ass in the Pac-12 game.
Yeah.
So let's go Utes.
Yeah, I like that.
Little Utes action. All right,
we gotta get real here. Let's skip TCU Michigan. Just give me a pick.
Michigan.
Or I like Michigan too. I hate to say I'm going to be pulling for TCU. I like Michigan. I do think Michigan, after watching them play in the Big Ten championship, is a better team than I gave him credit for.
Yeah, and if McCarthy is going to be as good as he's been down the stretch, I mean, Michigan's going to be a problem. Like maybe not a problem for Georgia, but they're going to be better than they were last year in the game. I think.
Right. Go KJ. Also, I love this comment from Dylan Jackson in the comment series. Says Penn State is a less Catholic Notre Dame. I love he said less Catholic. They ride their name all the way to that bowl. I think that's spot on, man. I think that's a spot on take. Anyway, no, I was impressed with Michigan a little bit. Michigan in that bowl game, you know what it reminded me of? And I hate to use Bama as the example, but like it reminded me of like early Saban Bama, just the way they won the game. Like not saying that they were like on par with that talent or our national championship caliber team, because they also didn't play anybody this year. They played one ranked team, and it was Ohio State. Maybe Penn State was ranked at the time. I think they probably fucking were. They played them at home, and they played one ranked team before playing Ohio State. And I think that like the way they won, very close in the first half. You make halftime adjustments, and your defense shuts them down in the second half. What are you making that face for?
Dude, what's going on with this guy's leg? On Kansas?
I think he's just bow-legged.
Dude, I don't know.
Why are they going for two? Do you have to go for two in the second overtime?
No.
What the fuck are we doing?
All right.
I thought you had to start going for two. No, you.
Oh, it's only
the second overtime. It's just
it's only 2-point plays.
Right
after a certain point.
So what do we do? Why are we going for two here? He's going to roll him out, right? Oh my god, he's not rolling him out. Oh my god, he got him. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Now let's get to the big one.
All right, Ohio State, Georgia. Right now, I am looking at a spread of 6.5. Hasn't really moved at all.
No, it's moved down. It's
from
in
7.
The public is like, from what I've gathered, is like overwhelming in favor of Ohio State.
That feels like a bad move.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, man. It's interesting because I feel like Georgia's definitely been more tested this year by good teams than they were at any point last year, even bad teams, honestly. So it's not that they're like invincible, even though they are undefeated. I just am so unimpressed with Ohio State. You know, there's just bad vibes around the program. Like there's this weird undercurrent of talk about Ryan Day, even though he's 45-5.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if he's the guy. They didn't have the best signing day. And like he's like out here kind of like bitching about NIL. And like, I don't know. It's just like I'm not getting the good vibes from Ohio State right now. And Georgia, this is a home game, although there'll be a lot of Ohio State fans there, I'm sure.
So I did see that there was a story out the other day that he is that like there's been a ton of tickets purchased by Ohio State fans. Now, sadly, they're all flying Southwest, so none of them will make the game for sure. But yeah, there's like they've had a ton of people. This has got to be holding.
So
they've had a ton of fans that have bought tickets.
So who's out for Georgia? We saw that McConkey and McClendon were both injured in the SEC title game. Do we know if they're playing?
I think everybody's good for Georgia. I heard Stetson might sit this one out for his draft stock.
Sure. And then obviously Eric Gilbert.
For sure. Eric Gilbert is gone. That is one.
Yeah. Not that he was doing much. Obviously Nolan Smith's still out. He was out for the year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it just comes down to Georgia having the more experienced team, a quarterback that has frankly come up big in games like this. Georgia obviously knows Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I think there is something to have been in that stadium many times, had success in that stadium. And I don't envision, being New Year's Eve, like hanging out with a bunch of Georgia fans in my neighborhood and then being sad because Georgia lost. I just don't envision that. And so
I put it on my vision board.
Yeah, you should. I maybe I'll take Ohio State to cover just because it hedges it a bit, but I like Georgia to win the game for sure.
Speaking of hedges, brother. So this is going to shock some people, okay? I know I've been high on Georgia all year, and I know I hate Ohio State, and I know I've sat here and told everybody on this podcast and everybody that's listening why I think Georgia is the best team in the country, and they're going to win the national championship with ease. And I thought that for a long time. And then I started watching, oh my God, Arkansas. Then I started watching how things have unfolded since the SEC championship game. and Ohio State getting an extra week to prepare, and Ohio State being more fresh because they didn't have to play an extra game or a physical game, especially.
That's a good
Having a little bit of a chip on your shoulder, seeing this video of Marvin Harrison Jr. practicing late after he gets snubbed from the what do you call it? From the Biletnikoff and all that kind of stuff. And I've honestly, after watching all of that and taking that into account, the only thing I can think of that is going to happen in this game is that Ohio State fans can talk all the shit they want, Tyler. You talk all the shit you want on Twitter, and they have for sure. But it's Saturday, a little bit after 8 p.m., they're going to tee up that fucking football, and Ohio State's going to have to go play Kirby Smart and Georgia's defense and Jalen Carter and Stetson fucking Bennett and all. It is going to be – I can't fucking wait because I think this is such a win-win situation for me personally, because if Ohio State wins, I'll laugh and I'll be a dick and say some things I shouldn't to Georgia fans. But when they don't and Georgia does what everyone knows they're going to do, or at least I know what they're going to do, and everyone outside of that Sam – what's his name guy on Twitter? And like, oh God, was that fourth down? Oh, he scored on the play. Oh God, there's a flag on the 2-point conversion. I've really ruined the momentum here. This Georgia talk. I think that like Willie Gray actually said it in the comments the best. CJ Stroud's not a running quarterback. He's not even a mobile quarterback. You know how many rushing touchdowns CJ Stroud has this year?
No.
0.
Oh, wow.
0. And he's been touted for whatever reason. I've seen it like on lesser shows than ours as a mobile quarterback. And I'm just going to say this because this is what's happening. They're saying that because he's black. And that's not what CJ Stroud is. It doesn't mean he's not an athlete. It doesn't mean he's not a great quarterback, because he is a phenomenal quarterback, but he is a pure pocket passer. He does not run that well. And they haven't really shown all season that he would run that well. So I think that kind of like breakdown is a farce. And I think it's like more based out of ignorance than anything. Again, CJ Stroud's an incredible quarterback, but he is not a mobile quarterback. And I think that's one of the few ways you're going to beat a Kirby team. And you saw it even when Kirby was the DC at Bama. You have to have a guy that can like not just drop back there and be a statue. And he's not like a Zach Mettenberger or who was the kid from the other LSU transfer that went to Auburn. He's not like that kind of a statue.
TJ Finley.
But like, yeah, TJ Finley. But like he is like I can see Ohio State will have like Ryan Day is a good enough play caller. He's a good enough offensive mind that they're going to dial up some very successful plays. They might even have some chunk plays. We've seen at times Georgia's secondary get beat a little bit. You saw it against LSU. I think that's fool's gold, man. I think all of that kind of stuff is, I'll go so far as to say it. Like, I wouldn't put it past Kirby to be like, let's take the foot all the way off the fucking gas and like in the second half of that game, and then put as much fucking bad tape out there as possible. Like, I would not put that past Kirby. Put as much bad tape out there into the hands of Ohio State or whoever the 4 seed is going to be as possible, so they can have this like misguided like arrogance and misguided confidences. And that is, oh my God, they call it targeting. That is what I think is happening with Ohio State, because there's not a team in the country, and I'll include the Dolphins without Tua. There's not a team in this country and the Jets that can beat Georgia when Georgia plays the way they've played all year. There's no one that's anywhere close to Georgia. And Ohio State is going to figure that out on Saturday. And you talk about a program that they beat their chest and they do all this kind of shit. Like I've seen them talk about how, like, you know, let's not pretend that you know, Georgia's like invincible. Like their best, there's been talks about how their best tight end left because it's Eric Gilbert, because of what he did in the spring game. They're like, you haven't heard one single quote, bulletin board material from a Georgia player since the Peach Bowl media days started. I've heard several from Ohio State players. I think we're better across the board, is what one of their defensive players said. What do you call it? I think yesterday. Georgia is too disciplined on and off the field for that shit. And they're going to go out there and they're going to beat Ohio State as an SEC football team for the 11th time in Ohio State's last 13 games against SEC opponents.
Boom.
Bitches.
So if we're right, we'll get a Georgia-Michigan national championship.
Ugh.
And we will then preview it at that point. And but best of luck to everyone, especially you Georgia fans out there.
Yeah, I'll be there. If you guys are there, shoot me a text or a DM or whatever. I'll be there on Saturday with one of our lucky listeners who's going with me.
Nice.
So,
well, the listeners, if you don't follow Chris on Twitter, which I'm sure you do, you'll know that he is moving to Florida. So we're gonna have a goodbye celebration for your new beginnings in Florida before you leave, buddy.
Yeah, I also hate snakes, so maybe I won't do it. I don't know.
Oh God. All right. Well, that's the end of the show. Good luck this weekend, everybody.